Welcome to the Don't Die Rusty podcast. I'm Rick Hansen, and we will be talking about living, not dying. We're all on this adventure together, and we will be interviewing people who inspire us to live our best lives. People with various backgrounds who will walk us down the trails they took to not die rusty. Adventure in life are many things to many people. It could be a sprint or an endurance race, but with each adventure, we become a better version of us. We hope you keep chasing those dreams, being the best you, and of course, don't die rusty. Well, hello, Don't Die Rusty Nation. We got the Rick Tassics back together.
We're here.
Here we are.
We have Ashley Kurtenbach on tambourine. We have Ricky Bruley on lead guitar.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot my slash wig.
There you go. And we are happy to have our bass player back from a little hiatus. We had to pay him a little more money because he was wanting a different contract. Free agent Kelly Lovelace.
Yeah, hear the roar. Hear the roar.
Well, it's great to have everybody together here. It's been a while that we've all been together. We have all these great conversations, and that's why I love having us together, because everybody brings something different to this conversation. And but it was interesting too, because our tambourine player was playing drums the other night last week and sent us this conversation piece that we wanted to do with this episode. So I will get into that, but how's everybody been doing?
Good.
Yeah, busy all the time. There's no break.
I hear you. How have you been, Kelly?
It's been kind of a roller coaster and craziness in my life, but we're good. We're in a good place right now.
That's good.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
We sent our condolences in the last episode
Yeah.
we did together, and it's just, we're just sorry to hear about that. But you know what? Yeah, we'll keep on picking you up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Just a little, I guess, update. I lost my father on Memorial Day. A week after my son graduated high school, my youngest, and kind of a roller coaster. He'd been battling cancer, and cancer kind of finally won, but it didn't beat him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was there. We were having conversations up to the end, and he fell asleep and went to be with Jesus. So I couldn't have asked for a more dignified and honorable way for him to go. There wasn't a lot of long-term suffering, and the VA in Kansas City did a great job. He was at the Veterans Hospital there, and the staff there was really good. The nursing staff was amazing. So got to see them at work, and then got to have good conversations with him towards the end, just about life and future and those kind of things. So it was good, and we're in a good place. My mom is trying to transition, 80 years old. She spent 59 years with him and doesn't have him. So that's a big transition for her, and we've been walking with her. I spent a lot of time down in the Atchison, Leavenworth area with her, just trying to figure out next steps. And so we've been really busy, but I'm glad that there's some normalcy. Like, I really appreciate this because it brings a little bit more of the normal back into my life. And I think that's what we need right now. So, yeah, you just keep praying for us, keep us on your hearts and minds, and we'll see what happens here this next year.
Yep, you have our prayers for sure, and it's one of those things. It's like those you talked about going on those walks with your mom, and I still get to do that with my dad when I go back and see
Right.
him, and those are some of the best conversations. We always talk about those walks in the woods or wherever else. Those are the best
Yeah.
conversations you can have.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's been good.
So, and anyway, so I'll let us get into the conversation, and I don't need a picture of me looking at myself here, so I'll get it here. So, but Ashley
Is your
came up with
wallpaper like you're a picture of you, Rick?
no, it's not. Well, it is actually, but no, it's not.
It's
So
you in the American flag underwear, isn't it?
yeah.
Yes.
No, that's me actually behind this flag. He just
Yeah.
puts this up for the podcast, but when it's down, the picture of the American flag is
Yeah.
underneath it.
Love
I
it.
have to think of
Mr. All-American.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to think of things to do. I mean, every 4th of July.
Absolutely. It's the land of the
Living
free.
living over there in God's time zone.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, see?
You're learning.
You're learning.
Just as long as they don't get a brown streak on that American flag, we'll be all right. Anyway, we'll get off this because we always seem to get on that poop thing. So I'll get off that subject right now. We'll get a little more, I mean, it's fun because we can laugh and joke, and then we get a little bit serious and yeah, so we'll get a little, we'll start out this conversation and see where it goes because we never know. So anyway, the question that Ashley posed, well, actually, here you go, Ashley. You posed this question.
Yeah. Well,
Why don't you give us a back?
I'll give you the background of it real quick. So I've had a life coach for the last, I don't know, and he used to be a personal trainer that I worked out with years ago. So like 15 plus, like 15-ish years. And he asked us this, and it really, he asked me and some other guys and stuff. It was, I don't know, when I had it, I knew exactly what I was going to say, but that's because I've become more hypersensitive to seeing the small things every day and looking at that as answered prayers versus like I think growing up and probably even my 30s, like early 30s, you look at praying and you pray and pray and you expect big things. But the reality is like when you really open your eyes, you start seeing those smaller things. Anyway, so we were talking about that book. Yeah, The Right Thing Right Now. Again, I don't know how many times we've referenced that, but we were talking about that book, and he pulled this question from reading, I think, part 1 and part 2 from that book. And so the question that was posed to us was,
hold on.
Okay.
The book is Right Thing Right Now by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Rick gifted that to me on my birthday last year, and I have spread that to, after reading that, I've spread it to a ton of people, and they've all purchased it and have read it now too. Just a really great one. So the question was, what blessings do you see each day in an average day, and how do you feel your expectations are receiving those blessings? So, for example, it would be not just giving back. I said that in this text because I was trying to put context on it. Not just giving back for receiving those blessings, but if you feel you see blessings every day, from whatever you feel, like whether it's God or whatnot, like, do you feel you have a higher expectation then because you are seeing it? But then you can also argue, well, maybe you're not seeing everything, so are your expectations lower, right? So he basically had asked that, and it was interesting because the immediate answer is like when they say, are you blessed? Like, how are you blessed? You're like, I got a good life, a good job, a good family. No, that's the easy stuff. That's the easy stuff to say. It's the little tiny things when you've had a bad day and all of a sudden, I use the example. One day I woke up, I was extremely stressed with what I had to do, and it rained that day, which it's been raining a lot this year. But anyway, it rained that day, and I was like, you know what? This puts me, I can't do what I had scheduled to do. So this puts me inside, to get things done. It's like God knew I needed that. And I was like, that's an answer to a prayer, because I was like beyond stressed of how am I going to get this all done? I really just need a day at my computer. And then it rained, and I was forced. It wasn't even my choice. Like, I made the choice after it was put to me, but seeing something like that, I was like, that is an answer to a prayer, even though I didn't sit there and be like, pray for rain, or pray for like a day like that. But then I started seeing more and more little things, and maybe it's because I read that book. I don't know. Putting it together, I've just noticed in the last probably 3 months how just extremely hypersensitive I am to seeing those small little answered prayers, I would say.
Yeah, it didn't take me long to read this book, but it's funny thing because it reassures me of the little things that I've seen. Because do you remember Ricky, when we talked to Melissa Bartfield, our first time coming down the mountain, Melissa and I always watch people, and when we were coming down the mountain at Total Archery Challenge in Terry Peak, I noticed like she's seeing the flowers and she's seeing the birds, and I always look at the people that see the little things, not just a big view. And I think that's just one thing. I'm just saying, but that's how I look at people. Because if you're just going to see the big view, you aren't seeing the whole part of life, I don't think.
Yeah. So then I'll just topple that to the second piece of that question. So that was how I answered that question to him through that. And then I think I gave another example, but then he said, okay, so seeing that, do you feel like you've been rewarded? So do you think that your expectations are higher? I said, I think so. So now, like, well, before we got on, Rick and I were talking, Rick and Cindy and I were kind of just chatting a minute, and I feel like when I'm in situations where there's a choice to be made on how you treat people or how you react to a situation, I feel strongly now that I have to take the highest road possible, even if that's not how I feel, because I've received these little gifts, and to return it back, as being part of this world, to be a better person, I have to take the high road. And I don't know, it's crazy. I can't even tell you. It's definitely a God thing, because it's like the last few months, I can't explain it, but it's like it's put so clear, even when you're busy, like, Ash, this is what you got to do. Like, you don't have a choice. You have to do this because this is the expectations for you. I can't explain it other than that, but that question came and it pulled it all together for me, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't know. And again, having him ask that question a week ago just blew my mind. So anyway. It's not as easy, huh? The blessing statement's a blanket easy statement, but not this.
Yeah, when I thought, I was putting some thought into it over the last week, and of course, it's, there's the obvious things, right? And I talked about it with Susan just briefly on a walk, and of course I was like, well, speaking of blessings, I've got two amazing blessings here with me now, my wife and my daughter, and like you said, those are the obvious things. So now I'm like reeling, trying to think about some of the things some of the blessings that I have, and then to go back to kind of again to what Rick was saying about the conversation we were having with Melissa. We talked about like how certain people come into your life, right? Like, and it could just be somebody in and out. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not somebody that you see every day or that you're going to see every day, but maybe it's a person that you sat to next to on the plane, on a flight, and you had a conversation with them. And then you're just like,
yes.
Cause for me, like, I kind of, when I get on a plane, like I kind of just want to just be quiet. Like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to, I'm like very introverted.
And then the person next to you just has to say something.
But that's just it. Like, so many times, like, if I can think about the conversations that I've been kind of forced, I don't want to say forced into, but they're just like asking a lot of questions. And so you're like, oh, okay, we're going to do this. And then, because I don't want to be rude either, but it's like the conversation is always like really cool and really enlightening, and even though I know that I'm maybe never going to see this person again, I always try to think of that. It's like, okay, like you were saying, this is kind of a nudge from God, right? Like this
Mm-hmm.
person is over here trying to say something to you. So what can I extrapolate from that conversation? So that's kind of where my head goes immediately, is just some of those people that, come into your life, and maybe it's short lived. Maybe it wasn't maybe it was a toxic relationship, but there's something to come out of that even, you know.
Well, I agree because I'm that guy on that airplane.
I know
And
you are.
and the funny thing about that is when I just a couple of weeks ago when I was in California on my way back. Well, my way there, me and the lady talked all the way, and that was fun. But on the way, this girl got on the plane in Denver with me. She's sitting beside me, and she's putting in her earbuds because, I mean,
She's
it's the
mean.
easiest way not to talk. And then, of course, Rick doesn't let her
Did
put
she
her
pull her
earbud in.
earbuds out?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but it was funny because she says, I don't know, the last two places nobody would talk to her, and then the last two flights, and then she's sitting by me, and I just started chatting. And by the time we got to Rapid City, she said, that's the fastest flight I've ever had. And she's 21 years old, and we had conversations about all kinds of stuff. And I said, this was a wonderful conversation. But you're right, Ricky. I'll probably never see her again. But that little moment, we both had things in common, and we both gave other people different, gave our, we opened up the box, we'll just say, you know what I mean? And we thought outside the box, and we had different ideas and all kinds of stuff, but had a great conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that influence me? Probably, what do you think there, Mr. Bass Player? Don't just sit back in the back there
He's
and just
waiting.
go
He's bursting
boom,
with info.
boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Well, I didn't have to. I didn't have to think too hard on the question because it's something that we live in where I'm at, right? Like, um, I lead a church. I lead people. I lead my family, and one of the things that we constantly talk about is God is ever present. Okay, so coming from that fact alone, there's a blessing that he's
Mm-hmm.
present in my life and he wants to be present in my life. He wants me to invite him into my life. He wants me to invite him on the journey that I'm on. And then my prayer is that he would open my eyes to see how he's moving in the world around me. um, that's a blessing, right? Just knowing that
Mm-hmm.
when I wake up, the air that I'm breathing, He gave me. The sun that I see, He provided. And so these little blessings we start to see, so that when we're in a place that is hard to get through, we still notice the little things in life, the birds chirping in the morning. Rick, that's one of the things I love about your sunrise pictures, and lately they've been sunrise pictures with a flower of some sort in them. It's that little
Mm-hmm.
small thing, right? Like,
Mm.
that's the blessing. And then if I can be blessed by that, the next thing that I begin to ask God is, as you bless me, how can I bless somebody else? Because I want them to see these things. I want them to understand that you love them and that you're ever present in their life. Whether they see you or not, you're there. And I can say this, I have seen God move in the lives of people before they were even aware He cared. Right? It's just amazing. But that we don't have to believe in God for Him to move in our life. We do have to believe in Him to see it happen, but we don't have to believe in God. He loves us that much that He's moving in our life even when we don't see it or don't recognize Him. And so I want people to be aware of that. We serve an ever-present God. He blesses us. And a lot of times, if you watch my sermons and my prayers, you'll hear me pray, Lord, continue to bless us so that we can bless others for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pointing it all back to Him. And so this blessing that we have is, there's a depth to it that sometimes we miss because, as Ashley has pointed out, we're missing the little things, right? We look at
Mm-hmm.
rain and we go, I messed up my day. Now my day's ruined. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's opened up a door for you to get things done that you were anxious about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know how you were going to get to it. Didn't know how you were going to do it. And God said, look, this isn't a curse I'm laying on you. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
I'm giving you this opportunity, and I want you to take that opportunity. And the world's going to try to get in the way of that. Like, that's just the way this works. Uh, it's just the way it works. That there is an enemy. He's trying to block the blessing. He's trying to get us to block the blessing or miss out on it. And we've just got to continue to lean on him and just say, okay, you're here. I know you're here. Even when I don't feel you, I need to know in my head you're here and you're wanting to do something for me. Let me let you do that. Let me embrace the rain so that I can get the things done that you've allowed me to do. And I think it kind of goes back to it's. I'm twisting it a little bit, but sometimes we just got to embrace the suck because
Yeah.
it's not really sucky,
No.
right?
Mhm.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so like I love the question, and I'm like, wow, this is stuff that we talk about all the time uh, in my community and the people that I'm with. I try to bring it up. We talk about it. They ask questions. This is where I want to see people live is in this awareness of what they have around them, and not get caught up in the chaos and the tragedy that the world's trying to push on them.
The busy. The
The
busy.
busy. Yep. Yep.
Kelly, is that why Jesus is shaking his head on your shirt? Because we're all kind of missing the mark on recognizing our blessing.
Boy,
Yeah.
it says, I never said that.
Face
Right, because there's all
with the
sorts of
face
crazy
palms.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all sorts of crazy stuff out there. But yeah, I thought that would be pretty good.
That's awesome.
I never said
Oh.
that. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have to talk, like, Ashley is right in the fact that geez, I said she was right. I'm just kidding.
Never hear
It,
that,
hey,
so
it,
I'll
hey,
take it.
it is now recorded for all eternity, Ashley.
Put it on loop.
Now you just got to get Jesse to say it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Right.
But I'd say in the last probably 6 months, I've probably realized that I'm going to taking the high road, even if it's not the road that feels right with a person, it has made me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
In most situations, because there's you can argue with somebody, but it doesn't do any good. And then I've learned I've probably learned in the last probably I'll say 3, 4 years. I don't care really. I care, but I'm going to do what I'm going to be Rick, so that's who I'm going to be. So in those conversations, I just had to learn to not state my opinion all the time, because it really doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter to everyone. My opinion only matters to the people that want to hear my opinion, in some situations. And I think in this world, we're getting into a place where everybody has an opinion, but nobody cares about some people's opinion, and I don't really care either. But we're all valuable with an opinion. It's just how we take it. And for those little blessings, I get up in the morning and clear my head, and I'm walking along and I see that flower, or I see that. I'm thinking, if I get down and can take this picture, this is going to be a cool picture with the sun coming up behind it or something. Or do you see that butterfly? Or do you see, like, the deer are always running?
Mm-hmm.
You've been out there
Yeah.
too. And the blessings that we have to be able to breathe in the fresh air and to see these little things. And lately, Ashley's been coming with me on a weekly morning walk with me, and the conversations that we're having has been blessing me, because Ashley, even though I say she's right, she tells me how it is too. So I don't know if it's always right because she tells me how it is. I mean, I might want to hear it.
Sometimes being transparent sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many we went to the Bighorns. I went to California to the race. You guys have been doing stuff, you know, like Kelly. I know, and I know this is a hard thing to say, talk about, but in the end, with your dad passing, but are you spending more time with your mom?
Oh, for sure.
It, it,
That whole process for us became a blessing, right? So all of my kids but one got to see him and talk with him because he still had his mind, you know. The cancer hadn't stolen his mind, and he was able to talk with them. He was tired and fatigued pretty quickly, but he got to see all of the kids. He got to hold his brand new great grandson, and bless him, you know. He got to have conversations that he probably wouldn't have had with me and my brother. And then my mom got to spend time with him, and we were in the room when he passed, and it wasn't hard. You know what I mean? Like my job, I've seen people die hard, right? Whether it was a car accident or it's just really hard for that person's fighting for all they've got in a hospital bed, and it's agonizing. Well, that wasn't the way it was for my dad. It was very peaceful, and it was very relaxed, and it was very it was almost is cathartic the right word? Like it 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 was a release that was healthy for all of us. There's grief. We cried, we mourned, but it wasn't this struggle. And those are little blessings through tragedy that if we're not looking for, we get caught up in the loss, we get caught up in the mourning and the grief, and we miss out on those things. So we were extremely blessed, and I believe my dad was blessed through that process as well, and that helped him in those last moments. You know, um, we miss out sometimes because we get so caught up in what we sense or see as agony or tragedy, and the blessing gets glossed over. And death is never easy, but it's part of our life. We're going to have to deal with it at some point. There's no way around it. And and as outdoors people, we understand what death looks like. We're very involved in it when it comes to the animals we pursue. Um, we know what that's about. And so we're going to have to deal with it on a personal level at some point, all of us. And so how do we free people to be blessed in those moments? And that was one of my goals. Like I had some things. I wanted my dad to have dignity and peace in the process. Like I wasn't going to let doctors take his dignity away and not involve him in these decisions. Our family wasn't going to do that. Um, I wanted him to have peace about everything that was taking place, and so those were really good things for us. Those were blessings because he got those two things, blessing and peace. And then out of that, they honored him. The staff at the hospital honored him, and the people we worked with through the VA, they honored him, and that was a healing moment for I know for sure for my mom. It was a great blessing for her. And so this is something that we've got to deal with. Well, if we're just focused on the death and the loss, and I've been there where people are wailing, like I don't know what else to call it. It's more than that even. It's like their heart and their spirits being rendered or torn apart and at the loss, and they don't know how to handle it. Well, I think we would all be that way if we weren't at some point understanding who God was and looking for that blessing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It certainly does. And
Mhm.
because I look at the blessing, you you mourn the loss of that person, but the
Hmm.
blessing was that I spent I made more time. We were talking about being busy bees,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I make the time or try to make time to be with my dad, knowing that it's a blessing to be with him
Right.
when he wants to be with me. I mean,
Yep.
I would love. I mean, I miss some of like cabin stuff or other things like that. But we have two hunting licenses together this year, so hopefully we can spend a little more quality time together. But the
Mm.
blessing is the time that you spend with the people you're with too,
Yep.
and we need to realize that time is precious. Time's the most valuable commodity we will ever have.
Yeah.
And we need in our busy lives, and I know a, I fail at things at times, and because of I say I'm busy, but I need to make things priority at times too, because we like I need to go on. For me personally, I need to go on those hikes just to find the blessings in life. Like I read a book, I listen to something before I go out, and then I have my mind just goes and it gives me a blessing to become one with God, or talk or whatever I have to do. I find that a blessing. But the other blessing, you guys can go, but I have another question, because when we realize our blessings, how do we give back? I, I wrote it down when you were talking. How do we give blessings back to people, though?
Right.
I mean, that was your question in the beginning
Yeah,
too.
kind of like what are your expectations if you're aware of it, like your expectations. Maybe one of them is to give blessings back to other people.
Well, I think for me personally, I think that I try to do good things for people because it's the right thing to do, and I want
Hmm.
people to see that, because when they start seeing it, I know that I have blessings, and I see that they might be in a struggle, they might be in strife, or they might not have direction, and if they see that I'm giving them the time of day and giving them a blessing, because here's the deal: we don't know what anybody's going through, and
No.
if we are kind, or if we appreciate or see that person for that moment, it doesn't have to be like Ricky said earlier. It could be a fleeting moment, but if we saw that person and they know that what they were seeing, we might have changed their life, and then we are the blessing to that person.
Yeah. I think there's moments when we get a nudge, and sometimes we
Yes.
ignore it, and sometimes we embrace it, right? And I
Mhm.
think that if we can embrace that nudge, we're going to impact somebody's life, and it could be some complete stranger that just needs to know, like we don't know what they're going through, but they might just need to know that somebody sees them, right? So a hi or a hey, have a good morning might mean the world to somebody, and we don't even realize it. It could be somebody that we know, and you can just see in their demeanor, the way they're walking, the way that they're engaging people, that they're not in the right place. So there's a nudge, boom, right? Let's go see how they're doing. Let's ask them if we can buy them a coffee. Uh, my wife is probably way better at this than me. I know that there's been times where she'll buy a drink or two out of a deal in a line at Walmart, when you're standing there and there's drinks, and give it to the cashier. And just like, this has been pretty rough today here. I just want you to know we appreciate you. And I think she's got a much more tender heart with that than I do, where she can read people pretty well, and she gets a little nudge, and man, she just embraces it and goes with it. And it can be a candy bar or just a note, or I mean, she's just really good with that stuff. And we don't know how something simple like that is going to change somebody's day. It means the world, because I think we're so isolated as a people, and we're so disconnected that that human touch is missing in the lives of a lot of people, and they feel like they're an enigma or a shadow or don't matter, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. I mean, if God is wanting to get involved in my life, then I matter. And if God wants to get involved in my life and he's telling me I matter, then God wants to get involved in their life because they matter. That's one of our big rocks, and that is everyone matters. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what their checking account looks like. It doesn't matter if they're living out of a backpack under a cardboard box or they live in the biggest house in town. Everyone matters. It doesn't matter if they smell. It doesn't matter if what they look like. Everyone matters. And so we try to live that way. It's got to become something. This is where we've been. We have four big rocks, and they're foundational to our beliefs, and they all revolve around God and who He says He is. So we love everybody. We're going to love first because God is love. Jesus is life. The Holy Spirit leads us, and everyone matters. And we read those in God's Word. And so what I'm encouraging people to do is don't go, that's what my church believes, but to say, this is what I believe, these four things. And then your life begins to build off of that. And it does impact the way that you approach people, whether you like them or not, right? So that's the good word for tonight. How about that?
Yeah, in a couple nights a week, and this probably frustrates Rick because it sometimes prevents me from getting on episodes, but I'm, serving or bartending part-time at a place called Smokies, and you run into all kinds of people,
Right.
And the other night there was a gal, she was, I don't know, she was taking her frustrations out on me for whatever reason. And it, like, at first it kind of frustrated me because I was like, what is it? Okay, I'm not your server. I'm not the bartender either. So I don't really know what to tell you here on this, or I don't know how to handle this for you or whatever. And that was like my first kind of reaction. But instead it's just like, okay, hang on a second. Let me just look into it. Let me kind of figure things out, and we were able to de-escalate it. But it's just one of those things where, oftentimes the knee jerk reaction is just, when someone comes at you, it's to come at them back. And I feel like, if you can just kind of take a step back a little bit, and like Rick said earlier, you don't know what that person's going through.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes they say, I heard this the other day, it was kind of interesting. My wife said this, that, hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
which is true, I think, in a lot of cases, but also hurt people help people too. Because sometimes that hurt that they've been through, they wouldn't want to see anybody else go through that. And so then it gives them the wherewithal to like help as well. And so, I was just thinking about all the different walks of life that I work with, even the other employees that I work there. They get frustrated with customers, or they get, they didn't like the way that they got treated by this person at that table, or they didn't appreciate the tip they got, or, and it's a lot of the full-time servers there that are, kind of pulling their hair out and getting really frustrated. And so sometimes I get kind of pulled into that a little bit, you know what I mean? And I maybe might contribute to some of the grumbling and all that kind of stuff. But then I oftentimes will stop, take a step back and go, try to reframe it in some way to try to cheer people up. I'm the part-time guy that just comes in every once in a while. So I'm not inundated with all these like angry people all the time, but I just try to have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd laugh and joke, and, some of my favorite clientele are some of the folks in their golden years, because they love my dad jokes. Like, nobody else thinks they're funny. But the folks in the golden years, they laugh. So it makes me feel good, because now all of a sudden I feel like, I'm like, man, maybe I should take this show on the road.
Yeah.
But I guess, like you're saying, is I don't put a lot of thought. I guess I can't say, I wish I was more intentional about it. Kind of like Kelly, like you were saying with your wife, she's very intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, you know, there's just so much distraction that I think as a general rule, as long as you just try to be good to everybody as much as you possibly can, then you'll just inherently pass those blessings on to other people.
Well, I was going to say, like, when it's kind of like we all have blinders on sometimes. You just go about your day and you just don't look at it. I think when we're hunting, when you're in the mountains and you're relaxed and you don't have work and you don't have, kids or spouse, whatever, like it's easier to see those little things like Kelly was initially talking about too, like the small things every day.
Mhm.
But I think seeing those blessings that really make a bigger difference than what we give them credit for is another level of like living. It is for me now that I've been aware, and then having people put in my life. And for example, I'll give you two quick stories. But in real estate, I had met with clients that I was like, they were interviewing multiple real estate agents, right? And they said, well, how do you feel about co-listing? Every real estate agent says the same thing, so I don't need to say it on here. And I said, at the end of the day, I work well with 99.9% of people. There's very few people I can't get along with. So if that serves you, I'm here. Like, I want to help. And we did. So I knew this other gal. We have since been working together. She has become a confidant to me, a mentor, somebody I call almost every 3 to 5 days now, and that's
Lucky
a
her.
huge blessing. Well, I run stuff by her all the time. She's become like a really good friend and somebody who I just knew acquaintance wise and knew of, and now has become almost an integral part of my work life,
Yeah.
just day to day. And that was simply by just saying yes and not fighting whatever, just like treating people right and just accepting the answers that I didn't have control over. Two, when Ricky brought up the plane, I was like, oh, this is ironic. I just started reading another book. And do you know, maybe you guys don't know the author, it's Lisa, I can't remember her last name, it's Turkhurst or something like that. She's written a ton of like devotional type books for women and stuff like that. She's a really good author, just down to earth. Anyway, she brought up, it's all over. I think you can find it on the internet. She's been on different podcasts and speaking engagements, but she talks about the plane ride specifically. This is no joke. So when Ricky brought it, I was like, now I got to tell this story.
Yeah.
So she sat down on the plane and she was working on a manuscript for another book. And she sits down and she's ready to like focus on the plane, get to work, right? And the guy sits next to her and he said, what are you working on? She goes, well, I'm writing him another book. He's like, what's it about? She's like, it's a devotional book or whatever it was. And so they start talking about God. And she said that God kept saying to her, give him your Bible that you have in your bag. And she's like, nope. Because that's the Bible she's had forever, has highlighted notes, and her kids had drawn, in it, and stories and whatever. It's the one she had forever that has all the mementos that we do when we have a Bible like that. And she was trying to think of every reason, not like, this guy's probably going to take it and just throw it in the garbage the second he gets off this plane. Right. And she's like, I couldn't ignore it anymore. So she reached into her bag, she grabbed the Bible, and she handed it to him, and they proceeded to talk the whole rest of the flight. By the time, so they got done and the guy thanked her, and then the lady sitting on the other side of that guy had been listening to their conversation, but had just stared out the window the whole time. She turned and looked at her, and she had tears rolling down her face. She goes, thank you for everything that you've done. And she's like, well, I don't have another Bible, but I got another book. So she gives her a book. She gets off the plane, thinks that she's never going to see this guy again. The guy ended up going, I believe, if I have this right, either was talking to somebody, like the evangelism already immediately started the second off the plane, and he came back to go find her, and they exchanged information, and somehow their paths crossed again when she was traveling for a speaking engagement. It's crazy. So when you talk about that, I was like, that's insane. And then when we were talking about this question, it just looped in so many things with the blessings, and then feeling the nudge and being aware to it, and then accepting it when you are nudged, like not wanting to have that conversation with the person on the plane, but then engaging. And then now this guy has been spreading basically the word to everybody he sees, and like how it's transformed him, like how that conversation and that gift. And she's like, hopefully maybe someday I'll get that Bible back that it's been given, like to, a dozen plus more people, and it comes all the way back to me. She's like, that would be amazing. She's like, on an airplane, but
Right.
that she talks about that story. So if you ever go, if you can find it, it's Lisa Turkhurst, or however you say her name. And it's the plane story. Everybody knows her as the guy on the plane story. So,
can you imagine, like, okay, what if it was just a regular Bible? Well, and I don't mean to downplay the Bible that way,
no, but there's,
Kelly,
when
my
you
apologies.
highlight and put,
But let's just say it's just an NIV that just picked up because you forgot yours at home and you need one for your travels. And she handed that to him. Would it have the same amount of meaning? Because if he, you know what I mean? If you're handing me the Bible that you've had for many, many years, and you've got all these mementos and all these important things, that's huge, because I think that it has that much more meaning, right? Like, you're just
has
like,
impact.
now you're feeling that the arms of God kind of wrapping around you, because somebody is willing to give up something so precious.
Yeah. And she said, like, she took it, she opened it, she pulled all the remaining, like, bulletins from the Sunday services out, and she was just like, there's got to be a reason I can't give this to them. Just slowly trying to make excuses before closing it and handing it to them. But then they continued the conversation, I think, maybe read some stuff out of it. And yeah, I think she did explain, that was her Bible for years, and all the notes and kids markings and things like that in it. But
Cool.
Very, like, tying it into this question is kind of an exact, like, that's maybe a bigger movement, but it was still the nudge and
The
acknowledging.
nudge. Yep.
It is the nudge. And like Ricky was saying, what if it was a regular Bible? Because she's invested in that Bible that she's wrote and underlined. And so she's invested in that person. Like, if God, or if you felt the need to give just a regular Bible, you aren't invested in that person. But now they've met and they've done other things. So that's very, very cool.
Yeah. And the story is pretty incredible. I just read it in one of her books again, and I was like, this is crazy that Ricky brings up an airplane.
Yeah.
But there are things that I've given away, and I'm not saying, but that you knew that other person didn't have the cash at the time, or I had an extra Plano bow case that, cheap, and you knew that the kid needed it or something, and it makes you feel good. You'll never see those people again, but those little things that, all of you guys do that. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here, but I'm saying I've seen all of you do good things for for people. I can't say good people because I didn't know, but I'd say you did good things for people, and that's the cool thing about this is, I think when I posted that we were going to be together, like, I consider this a blessing, because think about this: the Rictastics, and you can tell people when that one of your potential customers says, how do you handle people? You can say, well, I've been in the band Rictastics for about a year.
Yeah.
But think about this. We've been together for a year talking about all kinds of topics. And all of them I know that the topics have touched other people. I do know that. And for us to touch other people is a blessing in and to itself.
100%.
And the blessing also is to have that conversation. We make a point to have these conversations at time. I send out the text to you guys, we're up. Like this
Mm-hmm.
question's coming out and we all are together here. This is a blessing to me because when I have these conversations, I don't have to pay $300 an hour for therapy.
Yeah.
Because you're all therapists in your
You
own
haven't
way.
gotten my bill yet.
There's a backlog.
That's
Still
right.
gotta, you still gotta sign that contract.
True. But in life, I mean, going and you know what's fun is when the blessings also that people don't realize that we give are there are people out there that I know, and I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to get, but they were always seeing the bigger view.
Mm-hmm.
They never looked at the tiny things.
Mm-hmm.
And because they've gone on trips with me or been around me, I make them stop and look and smell the roses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about Jesse, I'm
Yeah.
talking about other people.
Okay.
But when they have to stop and they have to think, why are you stopping to look at these things?
Yeah.
And when they start seeing that you're doing that, you influence them to do
Yep.
it too.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's not just Jesse, but we have stopped. And
Yes.
but it's
Why are we stopping?
yes, but it's other people. Like I see that picture, I see that flower that needs, or I see that stuff, and we can be driving down the road. I mean, we went to the Bighorn, stopped and took pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I see, but I want. Here's the other thing I love doing. Like when Cindy and I go on a trip, I like her to take a picture, take her own camera, and I'll take my camera, and Chloe takes her camera, and the pictures that you get, I'll have all different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to look at the. I mean, I like taking pictures of wildlife, but I like to be in the face.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. I like the tight. I want to see the scars on the whatever, or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see their eyes. Where in that example, I mean, when you're with people that don't stop and look, you never stop yourself.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's certain things that we need to buzz through. The 7 on our hike, we're moving, but we're looking. But you had to get it done. Are we enjoying it to the full extent of seeing the little things? No. But we're
I
in.
ran off that mountain, man. I was like,
I
I'm
know.
out of here.
I am done.
And I probably saw more stuff than Ricky did because I'm about crawling, but and I have nothing in my belly, so I can't barely walk. But I'm just saying, there's certain points in life that you have to get to that point, you know. But there's other points that you need that when you realize that you can see the big things, you can see the sunrise. I've had arguments with people, discussions. Shouldn't say arguments. Discussions
About
with about the sunrise.
rareness of your steak.
Well, I've had discussions about that too, and that was an argument. But
I had to say it. Sorry.
I know, I hear you. It's still medium well, anyway.
Oh, wow.
And I don't. Hey,
Oh,
don't
here it comes.
judge
We
me.
can't. Here comes the judgment.
Don't judge me.
Get him.
It's already happened.
It's already.
It's been
I
done.
I don't.
Oh my god!
I don't judge you for shooting small deer. You don't have to judge me.
Oh!
How about
Oh, shots
Boom.
fired!
Wow.
I don't have to judge you for living in North Dakota either, mate. Hoser.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is amazing.
But I've had
At least
people.
mine was a silent judgment.
At least I didn't miss a deer 7 times and think I was.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
But I've had conversations with people about. They say when the sun comes up, it's up and it's still beautiful. But to me, when you wake up in the morning and see the sun rise, when you see all the colors, that's more splendid to me. And maybe that's a judgment call, but I'm seeing the little things because you see the glows off the flowers, you see the glows, you hear the birds start singing. There's so much more going on just as a world wakes up than there is at noon. Is what I'm saying. Because the world woke up and now it's taken away the birds singing, taken away. Now you we hear logging trucks putting on the
Jake
brakes,
brakes.
and you hear all kinds of noise. You know that.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. And early in the morning, you don't hear that stuff. So I get to enjoy it. It brings that sense of happiness there, but it's also that sense of blessing that we get to see that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, Rick, too, on the sunset and the difference between the sunset and the sunrise, because I mean, not only what you're saying, but also, I was thinking about this before you went scorched earth on Kelly. In the evenings, there's the little things that I hate are the mosquitoes, but in the mornings I don't see the mosquitoes, so I like that.
That's good.
Even though he talks to God, I can't let him get away with things. But I'll never care what you guys say. I still like a medium well steak anyway.
You do you.
I'll do me.
That's right.
But the blessings that we have, we all need to realize, and people need to realize the blessings in their life. And I think that the world would be so much better. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying I think people are in such hurries. They want things right now. They don't want to stop. They don't want to slow down. We know a couple people that's all they're focused on, just one tiny bit of life, that they will never see the whole picture of the little things. They will never see that until I have to say that I'm hacking on one guy and he's starting to see the little things because I'm relentless. You know that, Kelly. Like, I just told you, I'll never forget missing 7 times at a deer, or me shooting bigger deer than you. But anyway, I'll be relentless, man. No, I'm just kidding. but I sometimes wonder if is that my job in life to do that, or am I being too much of I don't know what to call myself. You can call me whatever you want to. Not everybody calls me good things, but by preaching to him to see the little things, to see that there's more to life out there than this one focus thing. Sometimes I feel like I'm being a prima donna, or I don't know, something, but I want you to see that there's more life out there than what you see. Is that wrong?
No.
I don't know if it's right or wrong, because maybe that's not the life he wants to live, but when I feel like I'm being a preacher or something, not to say that's bad either, Kelly, but I feel like I'm pushing something on some people, but sometimes is God talking to you to say they need this, they need a reality check, or is it me just being pushy?
I don't think it's you being pushy. I think if you're trying to offer, you see such value in it and you want to pass that on to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of it for you. And so I think by maybe getting those nudges, and when you give that nudge to people, maybe they're not receptive or maybe it's not right away. Sometimes it takes people time and time again to see it. I would say a lot of people, it takes multiple times to see something, especially if it involves a change personally for them. So maybe it is your purpose to be the positive guy that helps point it out, and whether they decide to, it's probably frustrating for you because you're like, oh, you don't act like you can see the blessings because you're not very grateful. Well, there's a lot of people not very grateful. And so I think we just, those people you can pick out um, almost every day. If you're just around people, you can pick out the ungrateful people pretty fast. But that's their choice. That's the choice that they are making. That's their attitude. That's how they respond to life. So I think you should continue. I would say never stop. It's not being pushy. You're
No,
trying to make the world a better place, right?
yeah. So people don't change miles at a time. We
No.
we don't change miles at a time. There might be moments in certain people's lives where that's happened, but the norm for us is not miles at a time. It's centimeters. So every little nudge is a centimeter. And we're archers, right? So we know the value of a centimeter right here on my bow versus what's going to happen 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 yards downrange. If I'm a centimeter off here, how far am I off downrange? And so to push somebody or to nudge somebody a centimeter makes up miles of difference
Mhm.
down life's path. And so if I can push them a couple of centimeters and get a little bit of a course correction, even if it's a couple of centimeters, it makes a difference. And that takes persistence. That's not something that's going to happen one time. We're going to have to do that probably over and over to get that centimeter or the couple of centimeters out of them. And so as I tell people this all the time, you'll never meet another pastor like me. You just won't.
Nope.
Right?
It's
Like
true.
I don't have this pastoral aura, the fit and finish that is probably expected out of most pastors or expected out of pastors, is not always there because it's not my norm, and I want to be able to talk to people um, on a regular level. And I don't know if you guys have experienced this in your jobs, but when people find out I'm a pastor, immediately there's they're trying to meet some unspoken expectation. You know, they think they have their language cleans up, uh, they start talking different, and they're not who they are. And I just want people to be themselves. And so when I meet them, my goal is to be present enough to move them a centimeter at a time. I I don't I don't introduce myself. It's hard in a small town to get away with this now, but I don't normally introduce myself as pastor or reverend or it's just, hey, I'm Kelly. It's good to meet you, you know? And when they find out what I do, which is usually down the line a little bit, if it all works out the way that I'd like it to work out, they're a little shocked. You're a pastor? Well, why didn't you tell me? You didn't ask, right? And so it's being able to engage people uh, and gain or create some trust through a relationship so that I can have the opportunity to move them that centimeter because that centimeter matters. I mean, if you look at a centimeter on a ruler, it's basically nothing. I mean, to be honest. But again, with our understanding of shooting, that centimeter right here where I'm standing makes a huge difference way downrange. So that's the way that if we could look at our influence on others that way, it makes a huge difference in their lives. Um, and it's happened for me over and over, the influence. And there's like, this is all four of us. Uh, so it's not just me, but there are people that I have influenced and I have no idea the amount of space that they have moved from the direction they were heading to the direction they're at now, right? Like they've been in my life for just a minute. I refer to them as seasonal people. They're in my life for a season and they're moving on. And that season can be short or it can be long, but they're moving on. And then there's people who are lifetime people, and there are people that those are relationships. Rick and I have a lifetime relationship just because of some of the mess we've gone through together. And it's a different relationship than a seasonal relationship for me.
Yep.
And so these seasonal relationships, we don't know the impact we're going to have downrange. We don't know the impact they're going to have just on someone else because we recognized the nudge and stepped into it. That's key. I think if we could begin to understand that, it's a ripple effect. It's not just me impacting that person, but it's the impact that person's going to have on somebody else, and then that person's going to have on somebody else, and it becomes like throwing a rock into a pond and watching the ripple effect take place. So that's the blessing, is understanding that I am impacting not just this person, but the next.
Mm-hmm. Going back to what you were talking about a little bit earlier, and by the way, that was fantastic, Kelly. Thank you for that. I just, man, you just fill my brain full of so much amazing information. I love it. And a constant reminder, we've talked about this ripple effect before, and I love that. But Rick, to go back to what you were saying about kind of how you were preaching to this individual about seeing the little things and being present, and then also, looking outside of whatever it is this focus is. For me, I guess it just kind of depends on what's going on in their life. You know what I mean? If somebody is content in doing that and that's just their thing and that's just what they do, then so be it, but if it's affecting other people's lives, or if they have a family and it's affecting the relationships with their family, like, then it makes sense to me, like if it really, like, if it kept me up at night knowing that you eat a medium well steak, I would probably make a stronger effort in trying to preach to you and convince to you why a bloody steak is better. But I don't see it affecting anybody else around you. I don't think Cindy's ready to divorce you. Ashley thinks it's kind of funny. We all think it's kind of funny. So it's a good talking point. We can all laugh about it. So I'm not going to preach to you why you should or shouldn't do that. But that's, I guess, the best example that I can put into place as far as with that particular individual. I don't know the whole story on it, but I would say, yeah, I mean, I have a friend right now that, a couple, they're, having some struggles, and I'm not exactly sure how to handle it, right? Or how to deal with it, because I want to say, like, hey, I feel like you need a little more Jesus in your life, but I also don't, I also feel like he needs to know, and he's expressed this to me before, that he needs to know that there's times where I'm in the trenches too. Like, he wants to get, like, kind of that relational thing and know that he's not the only one in the trenches. And so there's times too where I just want to be like, man, I just had a rough day. And you know what I mean? So it's kind of difficult to somewhat navigate some of those things. So I can understand too, where you're having this, you're not sure what to do, but I think that, I don't think you're a bad person for it. I don't think you're not doing the right thing. It's just, I guess I would need a little bit more specifics on what's going on with it. But I think yeah, it's just all kind of relative to whether it's affecting the people around them or not.
Yeah. And then, Kelly, when you talked archery and you talked metric system and you talked regular, I just started, that's why I was busted out laughing, because we were in Big Sky. Wasn't it Big Sky? I'd got different arrows to go to Big Sky for Total Archery Challenge a few years ago. And I made a new sight tape for my bow for those arrows, because I got cheaper arrows to go.
Isn't that Snowbird?
It might have been Snowbird. But I sighted my tape in as close as I thought, metric wise and not yard wise. So you
Uh-huh.
can be a long ways off if you're
For
shooting
sure.
yards.
Yeah,
Shooting
it's 3
yards.
inches. It's 3 inches for every meter. Yeah.
But I was like, what in the heck is wrong here? And my my rangefinder was meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that
Yeah.
might have been Big
That
Sky.
messed
I
you
thought
up.
we were going over the time that your sight fell off
Oh,
right when we
well, that
started
could
shooting a course.
either
Oh,
one of those things could cause some major PTSD, that's for sure.
Yeah.
for everybody involved, even those shooting with you, or the time you lost your rangefinder.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Things have happened in my life that I just laugh about. But
That's
there
good.
are, but some of the, like you said, some of the people that leave your life, some of the people that come into your life, you have to realize that some of them are blessings. And just like we were talking about, you just got done talking, Ricky, where I was talking about preaching. I think sometimes by me going into these places and talking to a few people, it also helps me out. Like,
Yeah.
if they're receptive, they're receptive. You may not know they're receptive right then, but then you hear about it later. And that's the best part about the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sometimes I go in talking, and Ashley knows what I'm talking about here. But people have changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the whole family has changed.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's one of those things, but you just don't know. Sometimes I don't know when to quit about anything, but I'm learning. I'm trying to be
If it's
patient.
positive, just keep.
Yeah.
It's positive. There's no such thing. No one's ever like, that guy is just way too positive for me.
Yeah.
Like, who has?
I've
No
had
one
that
has
happen.
ever. Really?
Yes.
Well, shame on them.
We wanted you to take your positivity and just get it out of here.
Yeah.
It's too much.
But this is a real
No.
person. I mean, it's funny. I read a meme the other day about being authentic, and this is who I am.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. You shouldn't. You don't have to apologize for that.
No. Anyway, we count our blessings anyway. So, what else we got?
That's what I got.
I just want to say that so like full disclosure, before we started recording, I was hanging out with my daughter and we were going through the bedtime routine that we always do. And so tonight she didn't want to read books. She just wanted to talk. She's like, "Can we just talk?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. That's great. Let's do that." And so we were just sitting there. She's talking about her day tomorrow and all this stuff. And as she was talking, my brain kind of wandered off for a second, and I was just like thinking about how tired I am, and I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could just kind of go to bed. And then I was like, I'm like, this right here and you guys are a blessing. Like, I was thinking it in my head, and I'm just like, immediately when that thought triggered in my head, it was like suddenly I had more energy than any Monster or Red Bull could give me, because I was just like, and I was like, Kelly's going to be on. I haven't talked to him for a while. And so again, it's just like right away I was just energized. And so I just want to say too that the Don't Die Rusty podcast, and then just the whole crew, the Rick Tassics, everything, you guys are an incredible blessing in my life as well. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
I love that. I love this, because then when you get to sit down and talk to friends when we do this, and then these kind of conversations are recorded and you can go back on them, and it's awesome because it's such good conversation. So
Yeah.
And it is a blessing,
Mhm.
and thank you, Ricky,
Yeah.
because like you just got done saying, they are recorded. And how many people get together to do this? How many people have these kind of
No,
conversations?
that's what I mean.
Right.
You don't take time. You don't take time to do this.
No.
Day to day. No.
Not even in a hunting camp do you really sit there
Not
and
like
talk like
this.
this.
No.
Right.
Everybody's going to bed. Like, I mean, you talk a little while and you're dang gone tired from the whole day, and you go to
And you
sleep.
retell the stories of the day.
Exactly.
Which is the best.
Yeah.
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 So, because like, how did you miss that deer? I'm just saying.
Are you
You know,
talking to me?
and I
You
was
talking to
looking at
me?
you.
Are you
Rick,
talking to
you were
me?
there.
He was side eyeing you through the camera,
Yeah, I
Kelly.
could.
He was.
Yeah,
No, but thank you. Yes, thank you, Ricky.
because
And
we weren't out there to hunt deer, Rick.
I know it would have been over too quick. But I'm gonna finish this with what's besides family, besides the normal things. What's the best blessing in your life at this moment? Blessing, best little blessing.
In my life, you should have said like today.
Well, we'll say today, because actually, we'll
Let's
say
pick
today.
one from today.
Well, let's pick a blessing from today.
Well, I told you when I walked in, I got to meet or maybe that wasn't, maybe I was on the phone before on the way over here. I got to meet a very wonderful couple and got to have just a fantastic conversation that I would have never been able to have without them ringing my phone. And it was awesome. I could have sat there for 4 hours, I think, today, just chatting with random strangers that I just met this afternoon. It was amazing. That's a blessing to me.
For me, every Wednesday morning, I've got 3 guys that I meet with, and it started out just as prayer, like we'd get together and just pray and then leave, but it's become much deeper. We've been doing it for probably with these guys. I think I want to say we're going on 8 or 9 years, where we've met every Wednesday morning at
Holy cow.
6:30 and had coffee and prayed for each other and talked about life, and um, that's a blessing. It's been a huge blessing for me, just to be able to know that I got people who support me and are praying for me, and I think that's you can't beat that kind of blessing, right?
Hmm.
And I think this is kind of what this turns into for me. That's why this is a blessing, is that I know that I can sit down and just be myself in front of you guys and talk and no judgment, right, Rick?
Right.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, yeah, I missed this to be honest, and I was sad that I missed the last one, but yeah, so it's good. This is good for me.
Well, the band's back
The
together.
band's back together.
I think I kind of already said it. Well, I said when I was talking a little bit about that conversation with my daughter, I just thought it was really
Yeah.
cool. She just wanted to talk, and she's not even 5. But the other thing too is I woke up early this morning, and it was Hollywood. Jake, he's our general manager at Vapor Trail, and we got a pretty solid relationship as far as like I don't know. I guess I don't know. Sometimes I oftentimes find myself being a little bit of a fatherly figure for him because of some of the questions he asks me. But we go shoot. You know, we went and shot this morning, and we had Alex Scaro. He does some asset creation for us, takes some photos and stuff, and so he was going to come up and get some video because we recorded the range podcast today on the actual range shooting our bows. And
Love
it's
it.
the first time we've done it, so it was kind of a trial. We wanted to try to test it out. I got some new mics, which I was like, part of that process, right, is because Rick and I have talked about that, going on hikes and then recording podcasts on hikes, and I have the mics for that, and so we're testing all this stuff out. But it was like raining, and I was just like, man, I don't know. So I text Hollywood. I was like, hey, are we still meeting, or what's the plan? And he goes, I'm almost here, rain or shine, we're doing this. And I was just like, that's my guy,
All right.
you know.
There you go.
And so just being out there this morning, like shooting in the rain, you know, and just ride or die people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alex brought his camera. He's like, yep, it's good. Rain, I don't care. It's fine. My camera's waterproof. We're good to go, you know. And so we got some really good content. We had a blast. We laughed and had a good time. So hopefully we can make that kind of a regular thing. But again, just the relationships, you know, that opportunity I had this morning, and even though it was raining, we were still out there having fun and laughing and having a good time, and then being able to just meet up with you guys and have these conversations. So,
And, well, my blessing was on my walk this morning. I had a friend call me up that hasn't talked to me. I mean, we talk occasionally, but it was out of the blue, and I always have my shocks on when I walk usually, and it was just a good conversation around my loop this morning, and get you thinking about life, and I always like to think about that stuff. And then I got a message from hopefully a future guest that I reconnected with, and could be a very cool conversation. I'll talk to you about that, Ricky. Here, but
awesome.
those kind of things, like give you energy. Like Ricky said, like I went for that. Like before you got here today, I walked this morning, and I thought it's cool. I'm going to go for another one because I wanted to get some of the energy wore off, because when we all talk here, it's like a Red Bull. You guys give me wings.
Wow.
You do. You
That
you
was
know. Well, you do. Like the conversations give me energy, and I hope other people. Truly, I hope other people have listened to these conversations that we have and sit here, because to have all of us to be able to get together and have a Rictastics conversation is a blessing in unto itself. I feel lucky to have all you guys in my life in some aspect. I mean, I probably drive all of you crazy at times because of who I am, but I still feel blessed. You guys, maybe on the other hand, say, "Oh," but otherwise,
We'll all have our cross to bear, Rick.
Yeah.
Notice none of us are denying it.
But what other friend would dress up in a green suit?
Or star-spangled pants.
Yeah.
That's
or
right.
a duck.
Or a duck.
I mean,
yeah.
But that's the cool thing, is that we get to do this stuff. So thank you guys.
I have one more question for Kelly.
Uh-oh.
So what is the wildest thing that you've heard someone say that Jesus supposedly said?
Didn't say, or did say.
Right. You said
what they said he said, but he didn't ever say.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
I want to know.
I honestly could write a book, right?
Really?
And yeah, people try to justify all sorts of stuff, right? So you want to hear this story? I'll tell you the story. So I had this lady call me. I had this lady call me up, and she said, I got a secret. And I'm like, what? I'm a pastor. Like, am I talking to a junior high kid? Like, what is going on? You got a secret.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's your secret? I'm having an affair. And I'm like, what? Why are you telling me this over the phone, right? And she goes, it's one of my exes. And I'm just like, you can't be doing this, right? Like, this is not okay. And she goes, well, he's a Christian. And I go, no, he's not. Right? And she said, why would you say that? And I go, because he's not doing what Jesus would do, and neither are you. And she said, Jesus is okay with it. And I go, I don't think he is.
I know.
Like, pretty sure he's not. Right? Because he's a Christian. And I'm like, no. There's so many things outside the boundaries right there. So that was a phone conversation I had with a lady, and she quit coming to my church because of it. Right?
Wow.
Because I said he's not a Christian, and neither are you.
Oh my gosh.
That's not Jesus at all, right? Like, that's not even anywhere near what Jesus would say or do. So that, I can't say that's the craziest, but that's up there on the list.
That's a good one. Yeah.
right? Like I could write a book.
Jeez.
I really
Mhm.
could. My wife and I have kicked it around, but I don't know what we call it, and it might get us in more trouble than it's
Testimonials
worth.
from Kelly Lovelace and family.
Yeah. Just get a ghostwriter, you know.
Behind the curtain
Yeah.
of the
You
church,
Yeah.
right?
you
Or something like
you
that.
write
But
it, get yourself a
yeah,
different pen name, you know,
yeah,
and then
yeah, I could do that maybe. Yeah.
Give me
that's
5
funny.
minutes and AI will create something.
Well, I'm telling you, yeah. I'm telling you, it's crazy. That was a crazy phone conversation.
Yeesh.
That's memorable, right? Like,
See, that's like a reality show. Like, how come that's not out there? I always think of that too. Like, I met one couple recently and they are unhinged. And that's
yeah,
what their show could be called. And I met them and I've never seen more energy between two people. I was like, you really do need your own reality show. I could watch this all day long. This like
yeah.
banter and but that Kelly, maybe forget the book, pitch it to E and
Well,
see if
there you
you're
go.
right in there with the Kardashians.
Yeah, I bet that could work. It's crazy. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes around that you're just like, oh, are you serious? It's nowhere. And God's word, Jesus never said that. So my wife actually bought me this shirt because
That
we
shirt
have
is
these
amazing.
conversations. I I can only imagine what Jesus is thinking sometimes, and that's one of them where he's just like, oh my word, like,
Face palm.
yep, yep.
I
There
have
you
the
go.
name of the show, though. I do have the name of the show.
Oh, I want
Uh-oh.
to hear it.
Tree Stand Confessions with the THP.
Oh well, yeah, that might work. That would
There
be
you
scary,
go.
actually. Some
You
of the
remember
stuff
how
that I could talk about. Woo!
they used to have the taxi cab confessions, the tree
Oh,
Yep,
stand
yeah.
confessions with the
yep.
THP.
Listen to Rick. He's got it, man.
He's got it.
Yeah,
But I
that would be a
Need
crazy
AI
one.
for that.
But
Holy smokes.
Oh, probably. Well, now that we have this out, folks, we at least we
Yeah,
didn't.
there you go.
At least
Yep.
we started out with poop and ended up with this. That's for
Shock.
sure.
Yes, we ended up with just about the same thing.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you guys here. That you played bass very well there, Kelly.
Yeah, hey, listen, I want you guys to know I'm just honored to be a part of this group.
Same.
I definitely
Same.
don't feel worthy, but I'm glad you've invited me and you've received me with open arms, and it's fun. I like it. Like I look forward
Yeah.
to it every
Yeah.
time Rick calls and says, "Hey, what about Wednesday?" Yeah, that'll work. I'll make it work. So
I got it.
Great.
You can even get the time zone wrong and you show up in the middle of
yeah, there you go.
Sydney's supper like I did. He goes, you're not supposed to be here till 7:30. I looked at him and I was like, what? Oh, never mind.
Well, what do you want me to do? I said, well, you're here. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't need to leave, but it's at 7:30.
I don't even think I really gave you a choice. I was like, I'm just going to stay if that's
Well,
okay.
Right.
We were having supper. Do you want to have supper too?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Just as
funny.
long as it's not well done steak.
Yeah. I'm out. I'm out. Need lots of ketchup for that.
Ketchup. Oh, I've heard
Double
two.
sin.
I know.
Double
see?
sin. You got it. I've heard two awful
I
sins tonight.
Ketchup is a main course here. Like,
I'll tell you one thing Jesus didn't say. You should get your steak medium well.
Yeah.
yes.
There
You
we go.
put ketchup on your steak.
Sometimes I admitted it the last time. I
Yep.
get judged real hard for it. I don't care.
Well,
That comes from a cattle family too.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
can't help it.
Nope. Well,
You
medium
like
well.
what you like.
Yep.
You
I
like
guess
what you-
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I like a good steak, and if you got to cover it up or burn it, it ain't good. It ain't a good steak.
But here's the deal.
I'll still eat it.
I like hunting, but I only want to kill it once.
He doesn't want to kill it on his plate the second time.
That's right.
I think the first time, I can't remember your exact verbiage, but we were at a restaurant and you looked at my plate, you're like, that thing is still alive. Not even close to dead.
You,
Well, it kicked me in the head.
yeah. So
Oh, that explains
I
it.
remember watching The Cowboy Way. You guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
We are so off the trail right now. It's killing me. So I remember watching The Cowboy Way, and they're in that fancy steak restaurant, and he's told
Yeah.
him how he wanted it, and he goes, "Sir, I don't think you heard me right. So let me put it to you plain. I want you to knock its horns off, wipe its butt, and slap it right down here on my plate." That was Woody
True.
Harrelson.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, that is awesome.
I thought that was awesome. So
Yep.
anyway,
Well, thank you also, Miss Tambourine Player. Next
Yeah.
time she's gonna do cowbell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Back
cowbell.
to cowbell. You can't ever have too much cowbell.
No.
Mhm.
I'm telling you
that was-
guys, you're gonna want that cowbell.
Yeah.
100%.
And then Ricky, you played an amazing lead guitar tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Next time, I'm going to open up with Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There you go.
Yes.
Yep, for sure.
So, well, thank you guys, and
Yep.
it's always fun to have the Ricktastics together. And so, folks, as usual, keep chasing your dreams, being the best you, and don't die rusty.
Thank you for listening to the Don't Die Rusty podcast with your hosts, Rick Hansen and Ricky Bruley. The Don't Die Rusty podcast is written and produced by Rick Hansen and Ricky Bruley. You can find us on Instagram and on Facebook at Don't Die Rusty. You can rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You might find your review read on a future episode. Got a question for the Ricks? Send us an email at don'tdierusty@gmail.com. It too could be featured on a future episode. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Don't Die Rusty podcast wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.